You get beat up?
No, why?
Your nose.
What about it? What's wrong with it?
You got some black stuff on it.
Oh, it's like,
Yep. Mostly. What are you up to tonight?
You're ready to freak the fuck out on somebody. I get back to my fucking tent, and there's this fucking dude there. His name is Nick. He goes, "Where's my vape pen at?" And I was like, sitting on the sofa on the arm where I was sitting at when I left. He goes, "You're a fucking liar. You're a goddamn thief." And he hooked a walk through my tent and struck my dog in the head with it. Luckily enough, he didn't hurt my dog any. But I told the guy he needed to leave or I was going to kill him. And I meant it. You need to get the fuck somewhere. Get away from me, man. And he's like, "Do I need to burn your fucking tent down?" He's all threatening me and shit. And my fucking, campmates there are pieces of shit too. Because every time I fucking leave, according to the video, they ransack my shit. So I gotta get the fuck up out of there. No, I turn to babysit people's shit. You know? I really keep track of my own.
I've ended up babysitting a lot of people's shit since I got here. It seems to me it keeps getting me in trouble. I helped watch Tom's stuff, and I was still real nice to him even after all the screwed up stuff he did. He didn't start off intending to do screwed up stuff, though. He thought I had more money coming in than I did. You still at the camp up there?
Yeah, not for much longer. I have 5 camps I have. I only have 1. Everybody keeps fucking trashing me. I'm starting to take it personal.
Yeah, it's kind of why I try to stay away from everybody, but that doesn't always work. Plus, when some of your friends are living there, it's difficult because that's kind of a source of safety.
Yeah, well, it's turned out to be just a piece of shit too.
Yeah, I realize that. That's why I try to record everything. A lot of my friends ended up being real rotten people, selfish people. There's a bunch of people that... Well, here's the thing. They got my best friend killed. They wanted to pretend that they cared, but it didn't matter what I was going through. They were too busy giving me advice, and they gave me advice until my friend was in the ground with a hole through her head. Oh yeah, they cremated her though, so that makes it magically okay, I guess. And all my friends wanted to look the other way and tell me, "Oh, Sean, I don't know how to speak up. I don't know how to do that. Oh, Sean, I'm too stupid to know what speaking up is." I'm like, If I was a woman, you'd know how to speak up. And that's the thing. When a man needs help, most of the time he's ignored or blown off or victimized himself, or people just want to treat him like whatever happened to him, it's his fault for being there. Meanwhile, I get shipped from place to place to place. Everywhere I move to, people want me to move to somewhere else. You need some rolling papers?
Yeah. I don't have any tobacco. Because they stole it all.
Well, I know there's a few in some of the ashtrays. I just couldn't go running around all of them. But I figured if I gave you some rolling papers, you'd be able to roll some out. Yes, sir. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, it's tough to own anything out here. And yes, tweakers will go through your stuff. Also, the fact that you're sober don't make any difference to the cops. They just assume everybody out here is a druggie. Same thing with the hospitals. It's bullshit. Oh, thank you. Woohoo! And it's Newport. Oh, you're looking good, Mr. Gucci. I haven't been able to get up the mountains to my stuff up there yet.
Can you drink that?
Yeah, it's just a cigarette.
That's fine. I just can't smoke menthol. It makes me lose my voice.
Well, you can keep that then. I'll smoke a menthol. Beggars can't be choosers and all that. What are you trying to save your voice for? I didn't know you were a vocalist.
Yeah, I sing.
I used to.
No, but it might mean when I lose my voice, I lose it completely. Like, nothing.
I had the highest vocal range in high school. I
So did
didn't
I.
sing the highest or the lowest, but
Me
I had
too.
the largest range.
So did I. I was in first chair soprano because the girl, her voice was lower than mine. So when this play came up and they were doing it, and I knew both parts of it because we did it in choir. Well, the lead fucking girl in her part, she fucking got kicked in the throat by her fucking horse. And it tracheotomy, so she lost her voice pretty much forever. You know? When they went in, they nicked her vocal cords. So, anyways, we didn't know this. We just knew that something happened. So they needed someone to sing for her. Well, the other girl that they had didn't know the parts and didn't have the range. So what they did was they had me come in and sit in this box in front of the stage and sing it while she lip synced it. I made sure they fucking told everybody in the beginning and the end, and even in the play fucking thing, that the lead vocalist was by me. And when the play was done and all the actors came out and bowed, I came up out of the stage and bowed for the lead vocalist for that part. Yeah, that got me picked on a lot.
I was in Chapel, Nebraska. I was the only guy in Chapel High School history to ever try out for cheerleading. That got me made fun of. That and walking home from school when I lived in Chapel and I went to school in Lodgepole. Why do you walk home every day? 'Cause you people suck. It's a bad place. It's a lot like Tillamook, but it's smaller. And there ain't no police department, it's just the sheriff's department.
You didn't need a drink.
I have a full gallon of water. You got something I can pour some in? At least I thought I had a full gallon of water. Nope, it's not there. Well, if you can find it, there's a soda machine, but I'm sure you were just thinking of that. That's one of the things about the homeless community is it tends to be ran like a prison yard.
And no one runs. No one listens. No one's gonna tell you what to do.
Well, that lady up at the church gave a lot of really bad instructions. Almost half the stuff that she said was illegal, the other half is only illegal depending on the situation.
Yeah, I didn't hear what she was saying to you.
She was, well, when you were telling me that was the lady to go talk to, and
She's the assistant director of the fucking hospital.
yeah, she tried pawning me off on you, knowing that was a bad idea. She was missing the point of the safety of me going to the hospital.
No, what she was doing was pawning off to me because she knew that I was an advocate. That's what I used to do.
I used to do that down in Colorado, but
No, I managed people's healthcare.
that's not what I did.
You know, I managed their healthcare. I made sure people got the right healthcare, not polypharmacology.
I made sure they got to their appointments and got to places where they wouldn't freeze to death and got blankets so they wouldn't freeze to death.
That the job position she was talking about, that liaison, that is what she was trying to get me a job for. Exactly that.
Yeah, homeless liaison, it's an easy job to do if you know what to do. But the problem is you also have to have a pretty clean record and you have to really, really know your shit. Like in Colorado, I knew my stuff well enough to be a good liaison. In Nebraska, not a chance in hell. Those guys couldn't keep their shit straight if you give them a tube to poop down. I guess I just don't understand why people got to be like that.
By chance of $1?
I don't. I literally have no cash. Nobody showed up to help me with the paperwork that was going to show up, so it kind of made it difficult. Plus, it ate up an entire week of my time. Almost every day I had, well, actually every day, I had either somebody in town who was going to come see me, and I just had to wait and be patient, or somebody was going to get a hold of me on the phone, and I had to stay down here so I could have service, and people just don't come through, don't follow through. And they gotta stop pawning me off on people that are known addicts in the area. Because that's something that, like, they're supposed to handle as professionals. They're not supposed to, as mandated reporters, there's a job that they're supposed to do. And I'm trying to get them to do that job. They're not going to do that job unless somebody actually looks at the evidence and says, hey, what Sean's saying is true. He is at risk. His safety is at risk.
But how would your case be at risk in Oregon from Nebraska?
Well, I can show you the videos of what's been happening here in Oregon.
Well, I'm saying that the only way that people would know here in Oregon what happened in Nebraska is if you told them.
See right there, you're missing the point.
Is that what's going on?
What's happening is I'm being forced to move from place to place to place, and because I'm homeless, I'm pushed on everywhere that I go. In order, as a homeless person, to not get screwed every time you move, you basically have to know somebody where you move to. They have to already know where the services are, and you got to get plugged in quick before either the homeless people that are on drugs target you, or before the cops target you. Cops targeted me and the homeless targeted me my first week here. So, I mean, that's something where it makes it difficult because all of my money is going down the tubes trying to get my vehicle up and running so that I can run around all these appointments to see mandated reporters for all of them to capitalize on it. They're committing Medicare and Medicaid fraud. As mandated reporters, there's a specific job they're supposed to do, and if they're asking for Medicare and Medicaid cards, they're not doing their job. As far as them setting us up for appointments, when a crime has been committed against an at-risk adult, which most of us out here are, they have to do something about it immediately. Also, if you have disabilities that prevent you from being able to do the things that they're asking, they are supposed to help you with it.
Yeah.
Instead, they keep trying to tell me about this community support stuff that doesn't exist. And then they tell me about the peer support. Now, peer support that they have down here, I've had several people that were in houses tell me about the peer support here and about how the peer support helped them. And then when they tell me the stories about how the peer support helped them, I'm like, well, that would help you. That could help you in your situation, but that's not going to help me in mine. You know, for me, it's not just having somebody to bitch at when things go south, or somebody to whine at when I'm feeling like getting drunk, even though I ain't drank in over 20 years. You know, there's a difference between having an actual supportive community and having people that are actively supported and telling you what to do and stealing your shit.
Yeah, that's where we're at currently.
Yep.
I've had all my shit robbed. You know, my property robbed. My mom basically was murdered from incompetent hospital and care. I got a list of wronging that just go on and on and on and on and on. How about them seizing a service dog from my mom's care while she was in the woods and then putting that dog down less than 20 feet away from her and then lying to me about it?
Yeah, they sure are nice fellers here, ain't they?
Yeah,
That's one of the things about the hospital is that you really have to have somebody at the hospital that's gonna actually listen and do their job immediately. And that's the thing that that lady was supposed to do is as soon as there's accusations of crimes against an at-risk adult, they're supposed to do something immediately. Now, since Tillamook Adventist Health had already committed crimes against me, it's unsafe for me to go to the hospital without a friend or family member. But all the people that said they'd go up with me, they either end up sick, or they end up dope sick, or they end up just vanishing for a couple of days, or they show up a week later and they're like, hey man, people stole all my stuff, what can I do? You know, that last one there is the most detrimental for all of us, especially if, you know, like one lady, she was going to help me and she showed up a week later and she tells me, man, everybody come through and raided my tent. The only thing I had left was my ID. And then the cops came and they ran my name and they didn't give my ID back. So now I got to go back to Illinois. I'm like, well, that's a fun place to travel to. Like, how's this, a homeless lady supposed to get the money to go back to Illinois to get another ID just because the cops didn't give hers back? Meanwhile, that same tactic is used in Colorado by the police there. It's used in Wyoming by the police there. Basically, if they don't want you somewhere, they just harass you till you leave, or they lock you up on bogus charges. It's different for a lot of people here who are locals or who have been locals for a while. But for me, like I showed up here fleeing Hood River and the Dalles, Oregon, and the abuse there. So by the time I got here, and because I have a YouTube channel, it's pretty easy for my predators to call ahead and say, hey man, Sean Schwartz is in your town. You might want to look him up and harass him. The people in this town, a lot of them come up to me and told me that the cops told them lies, things that are outright lies, and that includes that, what's her name, Ashley Farnsworth? Now, don't get me wrong, I understand why people get pissed off about me recording, but on the other hand, I tell everybody I record. It's for my safety and for the safety of those around me. That lady Jamie, the video Jamie again that I recorded, like, yeah, that's what happens. You go to a churchyard and they're supposed to be your safe place to go to. You get to the churchyard, it's run by some guy who got out of prison and brags about killing people in prison, and he's beating on some woman who's half my size. Meanwhile, this guy's easily a foot taller than I am. If I hadn't recorded it, then I wouldn't be able to prove that Jamie was assaulted. But the tough part is getting somebody to listen, because I also have the evidence that I went to all the mandated reporters I was supposed to, None of them would listen. None of them would help me go through the evidence or help me to get a safe place to go through the evidence. And although nearly all of them knew how to do all the email stuff, nobody was willing to teach me how. They were just busy telling me they didn't know how until they were pissed off, and then they showed me immediately that they knew how the whole time. They were just bullshitting because they didn't want to do their jobs. And there's TCCHC. It sucks I had to record everything up there, but man, those people are worse than CARE. Like, CARE wants me to go in and fill out their paperwork every time I go in there.
So you get money every time you do that.
Yep, but then I go right out the door without the help that I'm sent there for every time. I even got sent to Tides of Change, and Tides of Change was almost going to help me. But then they wouldn't allow me a room to sit down and write down the stuff that I needed to in peace and quiet. Then the lady who worked there, her name's Monica, she wanted to set it up for an appointment for 3:30. I assumed it was the next day because it wasn't going to be that day. There's no way. She knew that I had to be able to set up my computer and actually have my computer in front of me to be able to answer the questions that she was asking. Because, all right, let's say you got beaten up once. And you got beaten up by a guy named Andrew, and you knew Andrew. Well, it's pretty easy to remember all the details in that situation. If you're in a town that you're familiar with all the cops, you know exactly which cops showed up. But when you're beaten up by a bunch of random strangers over shit that they saw on the internet, well, that's a different story. You may not know everybody who assaulted you or everybody who threatened your life. There's a lot of people that come out of the woodwork that I didn't ever have a problem with, but somehow magically when Natalie ended up dead, they wouldn't leave me alone. There's the fact that it's followed by true crime people. And you know what? That is the largest pastime for women. Did you know that? The largest pastime for women in America is true crime crap. And that true crime crap that they keep posting up, they post that up. The most recent one was like 3 days ago. And they keep posting that stuff up, and they don't tell the truth. And there are people that do recognize me from the news and from their true crime stuff, especially right now. You know, I've had multiple people come up to me that are from Colorado, and they're like, "Hey, you're that dude, aren't you?" Like, what dude? You killed that girl, huh? Like, no, I didn't kill anybody. That girl in Colorado, I know you. I know you from somewhere. Are you sure you're not that guy that killed the girl in Colorado? I'm like, that girl in Colorado was a grown woman. Her name was Natalie Bollinger, and Joseph Michael Lopez killed her.
Did you get caught for that?
Yeah, and you'd think that people would leave me the fuck alone after that, but they didn't. The cops didn't. The media didn't. These web sleuth groups didn't. It's because they painted me as some sort of super psycho serial killer rapist. After that, it don't matter how good a person you are. Everybody looks the other way. Fuck, man. Is that seriously how I get treated for turning in pedophiles and rapists? Jesus.
Yeah, because most people that are in power are pedophiles and rapists. I need to
Yep.
find somebody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Be safe, Bryan. All right. We got somebody on here typing at us. What's it say? Oh, we got someone calling Tigweld, New York. Typed, I just showed up. What are you whining about? Blah, 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 blah. Well, it's pretty easy. Hide user on this channel, and blam! The troll is gone. See how easy that is? Taking screenshots of what they type, and taking screenshots that show that I deleted the assholes. Sometimes I bother to read it. Most of the time, there's no need. It's just trolling. Sometimes I gotta ask people, are you just trolling or are you asking a serious question? Most of y'all are just pricks. On the bright side, at least I stand up to you. Somebody's got to. Yeah, I stand up to bigots of every color. I also make sure that I show the hypocrisy of it. You tell me that it's not wrong, it's not wrong. It's okay for people to do this to me. Really? Bet you it's somehow magically wrong if I do it back. If it's wrong for me to do it back, how is it not wrong for people to do it to me to begin with? It's a good question. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video. When I first end a video, it gives me the option of editing the title. Let's see. Daniel Brown typed, "Hi, how are you today? Good." And then let me guess, you're gonna type where you're from. That's usually the second part that Daniel Brown types down. I guess today it's different. I'm not that great today. I am still going through hell. I still am being sent by professionals to go to peer support, except that the peer support are not my peers because I'm not a drug addict, so I don't fit in. They had what was her name? Laura Moran was the community support worker or community liaison that they had there for the homeless in Hood River. But she was so strung out on meth and searching for meth all the time. How is she going to help anybody? She's not. Meanwhile, the lady that she worked for was a pain in the grain. See, if they don't want to do their jobs, they just play victim. They antagonize the hell out of you. And you know, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't like. They don't like the fact that when they screwed up, that I told on them. There's a lot of people that want to talk about killing people all the time. And yeah, of course, that's going to freak me out. I've seen enough dead people already, and I get sick of hearing about it. I get sick of hearing about dead bodies. Yep, Daniel Brown typed New Zealand. How did I not know that? Oh, wait, I did. He always types where he's from. Daniel Brown, why you keep getting on here and typing that same thing every time? Is it an OCD thing, or are you trying to advertise for something? Just so you know, I make fun of lots of people on my channel. And lots of places, too. That includes New Zealand. I spare nobody a verbal lashing. The way I look at it, it's equality. And equality is important. Should be important anyway to all of us. But what do you consider equality? Depends on where you live regionally. Some places people believe that we should all be property of the state. And truly we are. We are all property of the state. We're all told what to do, how much we're supposed to pay. We're not allowed to stand up to our aggressors unless we have money. If our aggressors have more money, it doesn't matter. They're going to win anyway. You got to try to settle it out of court, right? Well, you can't settle it out of court because you'll get treated like you're a stalker. So when a cop tells you to settle it out of court, you explain to them, hey, I tried settling it out of court. If that worked, I wouldn't be talking to you, officer. Of course, when you're called mentally ill, they're not going to listen anyway. They're not going to do their jobs unless you have a friend or family member who cares. Did I have friends or family members who cared? No. I had people who pretended to care when it was beneficial to them, when they got something out of it. But once I was out of resources, they were gone. For me, I never wanted to have to deal with a bunch of drug addicts and shit like that. It's just the fact that no other society, no other part of society, was accepting of me. And a lot of people don't see the difference in their behaviors between being actually accepting of someone and tolerating them. Most of the people who wanted to claim they were accepting of me, they weren't. They tolerated me, but they had their own wants, and their wants were more important than my needs. When it comes to socialization, we all need socialization. But it'd be nice if I could socialize with like-minded people, you know? It'd be nice if I could socialize with people who were sober. It'd be nice if I could socialize with people who were autistic. It'd be nice if I could socialize with people in my own, well, in my own safe environment. But that was took from me because, well, sometimes you got to do desperate things to get heard.